glad you came back.
Yes. So happy to be here.
Good, good.
Do some chatting.
Yes. So how are you doing this week?
This week has been pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really, I can see an improvement in my stress level.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I had a pretty good week.
Good, good. So I know last week we kind of talked about your son and the possibility of him possibly using drugs.
Right.
Anything new about that?
Well, I have, observed a little bit more, behavior where he's like sleeping a lot more and not really want to interact with the family. So I did schedule an appointment with our pediatrician, his doctor, and asked for them to test him.
Okay.
And I waited until we got to the office to kind of spring it on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kind of approached him with this idea. We just want to make sure that you're okay and that you're healthy. And this is just one of the tests that they're doing. They're going to also do some vitamin testing and some other, get your annual visit. So he almost ran out of the office, but he has a great relationship with Dr. Bell, his pediatrician, and he kind of calmed him down and talked to him and got everything done.
Okay.
So we got the results back last week, and he was using marijuana.
Okay. And his name is Roberto, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just remembering that. I think that waiting till you get to until you got to the pediatrician was a great idea. I think that was really smart. You didn't give him warning ahead of time, so that was great. I think that was really smart of you, and I'm glad that you did that, as opposed to, I know last week I mentioned you possibly giving him a drug test at home, and now looking back, I think that was probably the better idea, to drug test him where they were also checking his vitamins and his potassium levels and that kind of thing. So that was great. I'm really proud of you for that.
Thank you. I think just the idea of getting it out with you and realizing that there is a problem, and something needed to be done, especially with his behavior not improving. So, we went into the doctor's office again and we talked about it. They recommend him going and talking to a counselor. He does have a school counselor, so next week we plan on talking to them, so we're getting the school involved because his grades were slipping as well, and addressing some of his friends and issues, seeing what's going on in the school environment and incorporating boundaries and goals for him at home as well.
So how did you feel after the appointment? How were you feeling when you found out that your son is using marijuana?
I was very, I'm not going to say angry, but disappointed, and really concerned about the long term, like what are we going to do at this point? Now we know, but what are we going to do about it? What, as a parent, I need to do to monitor him, do I need, to watch him 24 hours? I just kind of went into panic mode.
Right.
But after talking with Dr. Bell and him, he's like, this is something that kids experiment on, and their kids are thriving and doing well. We just need to get him back on track. So I was really calm.
Good.
And he was very, responsive to Dr. Bell.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to our meeting when we get back to the school. Now, when I did get home, I must admit, I did remove his door. And I explained to him that he doesn't have any privacy anymore.
Removed his door?
I did. I removed his door.
How did he react to that?
I think he was more embarrassed because of being caught. That the initial stress of me removing the door was not his biggest priority. It was more of, I have, hurt, his mother.
Do you think any of your other children are along with him experimenting, or?
I don't believe believe so. When I did express it to them, they kind of was like, well, Mom, don't panic, and one of my oldest son, it revealed to me that he did, experiment with drugs and, in the wrong crowd, and I was even more shocked. But it started a dialogue in the home, so we sat down as a family and had a meeting and how we're going to support Roberto, but also support each other through this process.
Good. So is the door still removed?
Yes, the door is still removed.
Okay.
He's handling it pretty well. I guess that was my way of, expressing how I felt about it. Letting him know I don't trust you and there's got to be something drastic must happen.
Right.
Will the door get back on? Probably.
Eventually.
Eventually, but right now that's just my little stance. I guess that's the best way I can explain it.
Okay. So anything else? What else is going on?
Well, I also had a birthday.
Oh, congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Even though I'm going through all of this, I have a really good friend, and she's like, I want just one day for you to do something for yourself. So they booked a spa day, and I spent the day at the spa with my girlfriends. We had amazing time. I'm like, I actually got my nails done. I haven't gotten a manicure and pedicure for years.
Aww.
And just breathing and relaxing and not for at least a couple of hours, not worrying about anything but myself was really amazing.
Yeah.
So will I be doing it anytime soon? I don't know, but it was something that I think when I think about it, sometimes alone, it still kind of relaxes me, that experience. Right. So I do know that it's something I can do to kind of get out my frustration if it's just getting a pedicure an hour away from the home.
That's great. I know last time when we met, you told me that going to the spa and getting your nails done and relaxing is something, getting massages is something that you love to do for yourself, but you don't get to do often. Right. So within 1 week of us meeting and you're already doing things that are helping you, that makes me so happy. And I'm happy that you are doing something for you. You seem more relaxed, and considering you have family struggles going on, that's great.
And even just being away for that 6 hours with my girlfriends, kind of sharing a little bit what was going on, and them kind of revealing, well, they have things going on in their home as well, not necessarily drugs, but behavioral issues and trust issues. It made me feel like, okay, well, I'm not alone. This is just, a stage that he's experiencing, a stage that we're experiencing.
That's really nice that you have friends that are kind of going through not the same thing, but, parenting, I'll say, struggles, that you guys can lean on each other with.
Definitely.
So I know last week we kind of touched on your ex-husband. Can you tell me more about that? I'm just trying to get the whole picture of Erica right now.
Right. Well, I married young, and we separated after 16 years of being married, and him always being in the picture. But he just turned into this abusive and aggressive person, and it's also related to addiction.
Okay.
And his addiction was mainly because his father, was came back from Vietnam and was just not right, and I guess the whole experience actually affected him later in life, and he started using. So in order to protect myself and my children, I decided to divorce him and move forward with my life. So it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, but I have, my mother here, I have my friends here, and I kind of lean on them for a little bit of support. And that was one of the main reasons I came to counseling, because I wanted to also have another perspective on how to deal with this new situation with my son.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what was the drugs that he used? Or was it alcohol?
My ex-husband? It was, if I can remember, it was pain medicine.
Okay.
Not so really sure exactly what it,
So pretty serious stuff.
Definitely.
Not just having a beer here and there.
definitely. And the same type of thing, depressing memories and but overall I think it was the best decision for me. I had to decide on what was important, my survival and my children's survival. And allow him to be an adult and take care of himself and get himself healthy for them in the long run.
Well, that was a very strong choice that you made, and you know, you're a strong woman, and that just shows that, you know, you were looking out for your children's best interest and your best interest, and you had, you know, enough strength to leave, you know, your partner after 16 years, which is a long time.
Yeah.
It is a very long time to be with someone.
It was not easy financially. He was the breadwinner, so a couple of cars were financed, house had to be refinanced, and just having the kids to adjust to this. I am now, you know, the head of the household and adapting to, you know, how I, you know, handle discipline and chores and knowing that I'm on my own and making a lot of decisions. So it was a big transition.
Tell me more about you making decisions. You making them by yourself? Or?
Yeah, so he's really still not really part of their lives as it relates to making decisions, whether he just kind of checks in on them maybe 3 or 4 times a year.
Okay.
So it was an adjustment on, okay, I don't want to be too aggressive because they're dealing with a life-changing event, but I also need to make sure that they're on track. So trying to find that balance.
Right.
So it was interesting at first, and you know, I learned along the way that I had to be a little bit more structured because my personality is kind of free-spirited, where his personality was more military, you know, order. So I had to learn how to, you know, adjust a little bit more and be structured so that they will have a plan and a pattern, you know, and expectations.
So would it be fair to say that since you've split up from your husband, you've had to change to be more strict and more, you personally have had to change?
I've had to change where putting things that I used to have time to do on hold, like getting pedicures, spending time with my girlfriends, and taking a, you know, only parent role and figuring out along the way on what works and what doesn't work. Adjusting my schedule to make sure I meet basketball practice and cheerleading practices, and relying on family and friends as needed as well.
How does that make you feel, like your own feelings, not, you know, what you want others to think, but how do you feel about that? Like having to change after not being together?
In a way, it was a relief because now it was with using, you know, medication and you know, different drugs, it was a financial burden because he was taking money out of our household to supply his addiction. So even though I was making less, I knew this is what I had to work with. So that was kind of freeing, knowing that this is, you know, so on that aspect, it was freeing. On the other aspect of, it's okay that I'm going to have to put myself on hold, my dreams temporarily, to sacrifice it for the better good of my children. So in that perspective, it was a little stressful. I had to grow up a lot faster, I would say. And originally when I got into this marriage, I thought I was going to have a partner.
Right.
And now I am a single mother. So it was an adjustment, but this is now 3 years later and we're thriving with a little hiccups along the way.
So you said the word freeing, and I like that. I think that's a nice way to look at your relationship, because I feel, and correct me if this is not the way that you're feeling, but you were in a dark relationship with drugs and, you know, feeling alone and having your money being used to pay for drugs, and then leaving that free. You feel like the chains have been...
that is exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
You know, now at least I know that I'm safe, they're safe, financially, we will get by.
Right.
You know, people do all the time. We may not be able to get certain things, and things have to be adjusted, but we're healthy and we're together.
Great. Well, that's good. That's very good. Is there anything else? Our session is coming to an end soon. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or bring up?
Not really. I
No?
mean, I think that we covered a lot. Things that I've kind of haven't really thought about in years, and how things made me feel and how it affected my family, and where I am now, it makes me feel like, of course I can deal with this with my son. I overcame so much more,
Right.
you know, and to just give myself a little bit of a break, you know,
Well,
go
you
have
deserve
spa
a break.
day once a month if I can, or if I can't, you know, don't have a little mini spa day at home.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. So, are you free next week? We can have another session then.
I would love that.
Okay.
I would love
Great. So,
that. Around the same time,
Yeah.
same day, do you have that available?
yep.
Okay.
I'm free next week at our usual time. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty, I will put you in.
Thank you.
Thanks so